Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. For today's intro, I thought I would share a portion of an interview I recently had with Larry Goldberg. The link to the YouTube video is on the screen and in the video description.
Okay, so for this podcast, we have a legend in the Tesla community. If you've watched any of those flyover drone videos that are out there of Giga Texas and all these things that were happening and are still happening, all these little nuggets that nobody else knows is going on, Joe Tegmeyer, one of the coolest members of the Tesla community, is joining Larry on the Maverick Mind. Larry, tell us why Joe is such an incredible person. They know him for his drones, right? But this guy has a lot more than it may seem. I mean, he's one of the coolest individuals I've ever come across.
So Joe is a true pilot. I mean, yes, he's flying the drones for us right now, but Joe brings a lot more to the party than just being a great pilot. Joe, everybody knows you. And everybody knows you as this guy who does these incredible, or has been creating this incredible history of the Tesla Gigafactory in Austin. And we've learned so much about it. I guess you've learned and taught us, and it's been an incredible journey. But I'm more interested in your journey. I know that you're a pilot, and I know you're a pilot of KC-135s. And so I was just so fascinated by it. And, we've met several times in Boca Chica to see the launches, and you clearly have, deep insight there. So I was just so fascinated. And so I wanted to get a little bit of background. I mean, tell us about yourself.
How did I get here?
How did you get here? And so you were growing up, you were fascinated by space.
Yeah. So
this was what era we talking about?
Well, this would have been mostly in the 70s, early 80s. And of course, at that time, the Apollo missions were ending. The last time we've been to the moon, which just seems to be credible to me, was back in December of 1972. And then after that, of course, we shifted over to the space shuttle era, and there was a lot of, development for that. That was obviously something I was interested in. When I was a kid, I was kind of like the ultimate geek. I got all these books that had all the tech manuals of the space shuttle, and I was learning a lot about that. And I thought that would be helpful at some day. So anyway, I got a chance to, kind of talk with Frank Borman, and he taught me a lot about what it would be to be an astronaut, what things that you would do, what you should apply for. And he also gave me, I still have it in my wallet, but he gave me a card. It was about persistence. And I don't think he made that saying, but it was something that he kept all his life. And he told me, if you learn this is going to get you through life. And it's basically, in a nutshell, is persistence is the most important thing in life. There's a lot of really talented people that really don't amount to much. There's a lot of wealthy people that don't really amount to much. There's a lot of people with great ideas, but they never follow through. But being persistent in what you want to do is the ultimate goal. And,
absolutely right.
I had a lot of fun with this wide-ranging interview, everything from my background in flying with the Air Force, space, Giga Texas, SpaceX, and a lot more. So thank you very much for Larry Goldberg and also Farzad for putting on this interview, and check out the link for the full interview. If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, nice morning to fly, and we are starting off on the west side at a pretty high altitude, looking over the entire west support facility, which includes staging yards, the end of line, the outbound lot, the west warehouse on wheels, and a bunch of other items that you can see in the upper right-hand side of the screen. And as I continue to pull away, not only do we see the main factory across the highway and the parking garage, but at the ground is this section of land that has been under the process of being earthworked and prepared for construction. This is what it looks like right now. There is no activity at the moment. It seems like that has been put on pause for about a week, so I'll continue to monitor and see what will happen here. But this is a nice view showing you context of where this is located, with Tesla Road at the bottom left, the main factory. And the top left, we see the road that goes from Tesla Road through this middle section all the way down to River Road and past where we see all of these steel items being stored on the ground. And on the kind of the right side, coming into the middle of the view, is all of these Evapco fan and base units, some of the other items that would be associated with that. These have been here for quite some time and still waiting to find out where those are going to be. I don't know if that's related to the construction side of the north part of the factory, which we'll see later on, or not, but I'll continue to watch that. Now, this is Friday, which means that the production is not happening today, but there is a movement of vehicles, and transporters are picking up the vehicles that you see throughout the outbound lot today and moving them off-site. Now, as I come down closer here to this north part of the outbound lot, there's a few interesting things that I want to point out, including the first observation of the long-range rear-wheel drive Cybertruck. But before we get over there, I want to just show you here the various different colors, including the blue and the black, the silver, the dark silver, the white, and the red for the Model Ys. So all of those color combinations are available here and being manufactured from Giga Texas now. And this is a great close-in view of what these vehicles look like here preparing for shipping. The other thing I want to show you is these two Cybertrucks. These are long-range rear-wheel drive. You can tell by the bed. It doesn't have the tonneau cover. It doesn't have the kind of the cargo box at the bottom of the bed. And it doesn't have the hold-down track system along the sides either. So we are definitely seeing production of the long-range rear-wheel drive version of the Cybertruck now, and I'm glad to be able to show you that for the very first time. This is a lower altitude view of all of the rest of them that are still here. We do see a couple without the tonneau cover, so they may also be the long-range rear-wheel drive, but overall this is what that situation with the Cybertrucks looks like today. And of course, you can see those two that we verified are long-range rear-wheel drive on the left-hand side of the screen. So as I continue to fly along this outbound lot, give you an idea of what all the vehicles look like here. You do see at least one of the transport trucks picking up. I saw many of them today, and so those operations are definitely well underway today. As we get over to this material staging yard, lower down view across this site, I'll kind of maneuver around on the west side, looking at all of the various items and just seeing if there's anything that's significantly changed. Not a lot of change with the number of transformers we see on the left-hand side of the screen, or any of the equipment that has been stored here on this part of the staging yard. However, where we get over to this smaller area with all of the production equipment, we do see activity moving some of the crates around, getting ready to put them up on yard trucks, and also positioning some of these silver wrapped items for shipping as well. And a lot of this is items that are being used for the 4680 cell production part of the factory. Some of it is other parts of the production lines. And anyway, they continue to maneuver all of these items for movement to the factory. So that's what it looks like today. As I pull away, a nice view of that sunrise over the main factory. And with this kind of golden hour look, kind of gives a nice different coloration to what we're seeing here on the west side. Now, as I continue to pull away, I'll just direct your attention to the bottom of the screen as we get over this clearing. You can see all that gray material that's being stored by the silt fences on the right-hand side of the screen. That is all coming from the tunnel boring operations through the caissons going underneath the Colorado River. They use a slurry mix, they dry it out, and then they bring it over here for storage, at least temporary storage, and then we'll see what they're going to do with it later on. Perhaps they'll be using it to help fill in this pond, which is the last remaining pond on this side from the old sand and gravel mine. As we look at the steel items being stored on the left-hand side of the screen and all the concrete vault items next to this tent, we can also get a good sense of the other items that are being stored here. Most of the steel corrugated pipe that was on the right-hand side of the screen has been used or moved over to that northeast side for that new construction site. So most of that is gone. The transformers, the middle bottom of the screen, those haven't really changed much, and we do see more of these gray steel items being stored here in these two parallel lines. So there is some movement, and I'll continue to watch and see what else happens with that material. Now I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude, kind of a nice view with the sun in the upper right and the factory as we get that golden light over this entire site. And of course the Colorado River at the right-hand side of the screen as well. As I continue to maneuver the drone back, I wanted to take a look at the caisson. The covering that was on the lid or the top of that caisson has been removed, or at least moved away today. So this gives me a great opportunity to bring the drone back in and give you a view of the bottom of the caisson where the tunneling operations are underway, and we'll see the concrete liner with the hydraulic rams being pushed into that tunnel bore. And they just continue to have the tunnel boring machine boring the tunnel. Then they put the liners in and it pushes it in, and it just makes that tunnel and it follows right behind that tunnel boring machine. So anyway, they continue to make a lot of progress with the number of liners that we see under the bridge and on the left-hand side being delivered. They still have a ways to go to get this particular tunnel done. So I'm going to fly back to the north along this roadway, come down next to the Cyber Tunnel, show you what that looks like here, and then we'll cross over the highway. Another nice view of that sunrise as we get closer to the main building, and I'm going to bring the drone up over the roof section because I wanted to show you the progress with the solar panel installation that is resumed. And you can tell here with this line that's proceeding up to the north. One of the interesting things is if you look at the solar panels that have been added, they're pretty dirty. And I think that's just because they're older panels that have been stored for some time, and they're just reusing them. And of course, they'll be able to clean those off as the installation continues. Now we can tell the unirack mounts are being laid out in this line continuing up to the north. The workers are busy doing that right now, and if we get closer you'll be able to see that they're actually doing some of the connections, some of the wiring that would be for the inverters before they put the solar panels on these. So I kind of suspect that this line is going to proceed all along the length of this roof and be kind of like an underline, if you will, of the letters TESLA for Tesla. And then we'll continue to see if there's more solar panels being added. Ultimately, they are supposed to finish the entire roof with solar panels, so perhaps that's getting ready for that work. As we go around the flagpoles, it's a nice view of some of the activity here. We do see that work at the bottom of the screen, and I'll give you some closer views of that a little later in the video. But as I mentioned, there's really no production today, so we don't see the Model Ys coming out of the factory. And it also is early on this morning, so the workers are just arriving, and the activity levels are fairly low at the moment as the day begins. While I'm here, I wanted to show you this part of the roof. This is where we've seen a lot of the repairs underway. They had to fix the weatherproof membrane because it was separating from the underlying insulation. They've fixed all of the seams and it looks like it's all ready to go. And this is one of the areas of the roof that I think needed to be finished before they can do more of the solar panels. So maybe that's what we're going to see. You can see this equipment on the right-hand side of the screen that's continuing the pipe and also conduit that's going along this entire berm, and it's extending from that northwest corner. This is that new entranceway. Of course, there's not a lot of employees arriving today because it is not a production day. And then over here, we can see this covered walkway and the open section now with some temporary wall panels. So they've reduced the size of this opening, as you can tell. And I think we're going to just be seeing equipment being moved into that section of the factory over the next several weeks or months as they build out more of the production line. As I mentioned, no production, so there's not a lot of Model Ys coming out at the bottom of the screen from the factory. But here are the closer look at the work that is underway here next to the flagpoles. And it looks like, as we zoom in, that the workers are kind of rolling out this mat over the trench where we saw some of the pipes being installed. Also a nice view of that Cybertruck with the case and the new Model Y. That was actually on display at the Cybertruck rodeo event last weekend. And I think it's getting ready to move because later on we're going to see the semi-truck with the Cybertruck and the entrance graffiti on its way to probably take the place of that display. As we get closer to the south temporary loading platform, this is what it looks like today. It appears to be having some more steel items or pipes being brought up to that top of the temporary platform for movement inside. Of course, here is the window line and how it is appearing. It had that gray trim piece, which is mimicked on the other side of the building. So I'm kind of curious what that's going to look like. Here's a low-end view through this drive path, and that goes over towards where the Cybertruck Cyber Tunnel is and where the Cybertrucks enter it. And then it extends all the way to the other side, and it's kind of a drive path from one side of the factory to the other through that part of the extension. As we get closer to the southwest corner and the south bridge, just wanted to show you what this smaller caisson looks like. And there's that trench box. They've been doing the underground or horizontal drilling under the road over to this section where we see some of the auger, kind of like the drill bits, if you will, sitting on the ground next to the trench box, and some pipes and what they're just doing to connect all that together. And I do believe that that's all related to that caisson. And another thing I wanted to show you of interest is this fork in the road. What we're seeing is the conduit that has been installed along the length of the road. You can see the trench on the right-hand side of the screen. They've been adding the red concrete on top of the conduit. That's indicating that it's definitely going to be electrical in nature. And I think from what I've been told is that there's going to be some sort of lighting system installed around that fork. Perhaps this is a part of that entire process. And this shows you where the connections are being made here next to this roadway. And of course, the concrete vault and the manhole covers of where they can get access. And it looks like it may continue along the road even further. As we are at this low altitude, I thought I would come in and show you the cooling plant. There is some earthwork on the other side. You can see that Bobcat kind of moving back and forth. And then, of course, here is that new loading platform, that trim piece that mimics the one on the other side that I had mentioned. Looks like there's a blank black panel underneath that opening where that platform is located. And still waiting for whatever final glass may be installed in this section once they've loaded all the equipment in that they're going to use that platform for. This is also a view of 4 of the 6 fans being operational, and as many people who watch this will point out, the number 6 fan is in operation now. So now we have seen all 6 of these fans at one point or the other in operation. On the ground is that earthwork that I had mentioned, and we'll be watching to see what that turns out to be once it is all completed. Of course, the big news on this site today is what's going on the north end. So I'm going to reposition the drone, fly over the parking garage, and let's go up and see the progress at that north construction site. It's amazing, in just 48 hours, they've already got one of the column sections done all the way up the full width of this structure. And they're continuing to add some more of the beams onto this structure itself. It does appear that this is going to be a single tall story. I don't think that it's going to be multi-level. They may have mezzanines inside to some extent, but it looks like it's going to be a relatively low building, at least for right now. We also see the perimeter grade beam as it continues to work its way to the north. More of those footings that have been built in that center section, and on the ground you see those dots indicating where more of the footings will be excavated and installed, and just the extent of the perimeter grade beam will continue to be farther up to the north. As I bring the drone down lower, trying to give you just a perspective of the scale of these perimeter grade beams. Now the one on the right hand side of the screen is actually taller than the one on the left of the screen. And I'm not sure why they decided to do that, other than maybe they're going to have this area graded in such a way to allow for more rain runoff, or perhaps there's going to be yet another reason. But you can tell here the height difference between the perimeter grade beam at the bottom left and the one in the top right. Of course, more of that white painted steel has been delivered, and now the cranes are being used to assemble this structure. As we were talking about on the previous video, since they were getting all the steel near where the footings were, I was expecting this to move very rapidly, and that is in fact what we are seeing. Now we do also tell that the crews are getting ready to have more of those steel beams lifted up. They do that like what the other crane is doing, where they have multiple pieces of steel. That way it's more efficient and they're able to work faster. And as I continue to maneuver around this small temporary storage unit at the bottom of the screen, this is a closer in and a nice view of this work that is going on. I'm going to spend a little bit of time here, zoom in, and just give you a look at how this is going. Now, I have a great appreciation for these steel or iron workers. Just take a look at, one, the scale with the workers here, and two, how they just sort of jump up onto the beams, they work their way over, and then they have these very large and very heavy beams just above their head. They even spin them around to get them in the right orientation, and then they just sort of grab them, and then with the crane's help position them into location, and then they put the initial bolts in, and then later on they'll come back and finish all of the bolt installation. But this kind of work just is amazing to watch what they do. I think it's greatly underappreciated, and I'm just glad to be able to show you a little bit of the view of how this appears. And as I get ready to pull the drone away, I'll get up to a little bit higher altitude. This just gives you a nice view of how this is starting to take shape. You can definitely see the pitch in the roof that will help for that rain drainage as well. So I'm going to maneuver the drone around. We'll fly along the east side of the battery cathode plant, and we'll just take a look at all of the activity that is going on here and up to the northeast. Here's more of those steel corrugated pipes that are used for the underground water management system. Some of these are new, but some of them may have been brought in from that west material staging yard that we talked about earlier in the day. Now, I did want to fly up here just a little and show you the work that is underway, getting more of the dirt put into the center dump trucks and some of the other dump trucks, and it's being taken over towards the electrical switch yard where they are continuing to prepare the grade. And today, specifically, they are filling in the old original water detention pond on the east side of the electrical switch yard. This gives you a great view of the work, and also with the center dump trucks, a scale of just how much dirt is being moved from this location all the way over towards the switch yard. You can see in the upper right of the screen. I'll keep the drone at a lower altitude, just above the tree line, so you can get a nice look across this construction site, that new facility that is under construction, and the cranes, and just where it is in relation to the main factory, the die shop on the left and the electrical switch yard on the right. Now, as we continue to fly towards that electrical switch yard, we see the earthwork that is underway, also preparation for this large water detention pond at the bottom of the screen with that new drainage pipe on the bottom right that will help drain the water from the original location just next to the switch yard now into that new location. This also shows you this graded area plus the temporary road and these kind of islands with the power poles waiting for their turn to be removed by the electrical company. As we also maneuver around the Megapack number 2, a couple of things that stand out to me. First, the crane is gone, so there's no more needing the crane to pick up and place the Megapacks. There's 142 total Megapacks here, considering the original Megapack just off screen and this new one. And then also we see a lot of workers now beginning the process of doing the electrical connections between the Megapacks and the transformers. You see those orange cables that they are all working on. And they have a lot of crew out here, and they're working on almost all, or at least half of the Megapacks at one time. So that indicates that this is going to go very quickly. We'll then see these large cables going on the cable trays down the middle of the installation, heading towards the north, the direction we were going, and to where they have that platform where they'll be grouped together and then connect on conduit that goes under the ground over to those control trailers we see at the south end of the electrical switch yard. I also noticed here that there was some trench work underway. This is just a closer look at what they are doing now, and it's really hard to tell for sure what they are installing, but that work will continue for quite some time, I am sure. Now, I did mention all the dirt that was being brought in from that northeast side. Some of it is to fill in this old original water detention pond. And here's some look at what that appears like today. And you can see the dirt getting deposited here so they can fill it up. This is needed because where we are flying right over will be the second part of the electrical switch yard. You can just imagine what's on the right-hand side of the screen duplicated right below the drone. And that's going to double the overall electrical capacity of that switch yard. And a lot of that is because Giga Texas itself is growing and the energy demands are growing with it, but also because of the Cortex 1 and Cortex 2 data centers, which are going to be extremely power hungry. While I'm here, I thought I would just give you a quick view of this now semi-permanent concrete batch plant. A lot of this is going to be used for that new facility that we saw under construction at the north end as they do the large concrete ground slabs that will be necessary for that building. So this plant is going to be very busy once again making large construction projects here at Giga Texas. We also see the landscaping kind of set up at the bottom of the screen and some other materials around this area. Those are the people that are putting the landscaping around Giga Texas, and they will most likely be busy further into the year as they do additional new landscaping. I don't know if they're going to be related to that ecological paradise as it comes along, but there's going to be a lot of need for landscaping for sure. It's a nice view across this section and the power lines to that construction zone and over the Megapacks. And while I was here, I thought I would give you another view of some of the transport operations that are underway. I mentioned that transport trucks are busy even though it's not a production day. And here's 4 of them that are loaded up, waiting for their queue times up at the Taylor rail system. And I think that they wait here until they get to their whatever departure time so they can get into their slotted time at that rail yard. And they kind of sometimes hang out here. But this is a great view of what this looks like. And some of the transport operations that I see often, but they are sometimes off of the camera just because they're over by that frontage road. This is a nice low altitude view of Giga Texas. And as I fly over Tesla Road, I kept it low because I wanted to show you the work that is going on here over the berm. You can see the silt fence and the trench with conduit that is running along the pavement. And this continues all the way up through this section to where a lot of the excavation work is going on. They're putting in conduit and they're also putting in large treated water pipe through this section. And just wanted to give you this low altitude view of what it appears like. Now this is related to the work that's going along the entire berm. And then you can see in the top of the screen that equipment that I showed you earlier. And this is how it all kind of connects together. So I expect to see this work going along this dirt path on the top of the berm for quite some time, and maybe even going all the way down to that smaller caisson that we saw earlier in the video. So here's a good look at one of the trench boxes that they use to make sure that the trench does not collapse onto the employees as they are working in the bottom of the trench. Now I also wanted to show you one other section of the roof that has had a recent change, and it's this one here. We saw in my previous video that they were cleaning this area off, doing a lot of pressure washing. It looks like they made a large rectangular section. I'm not sure what the purpose is. There is some equipment that's in those crates that may be installed. You can see where it ended here by this firewall. I don't know if this is going to be related to the solar panels that we saw on the south end or not, but it also just gives you an idea of just how dirty the roof is. So if they were to clean up the whole roof, it would be quite a massive project that they would be undertaking. While I'm here also, I'll cross over the power lines and show you a view of the backhouse filtration plant with some more of the items on the ground wrapped in plastic that they're installing, and that melt plant. It looks like that loading system has been further installed, and I'll try to give you closer views on my next video. So that'll bring to an end this look at Giga Texas on the 18th of April. A lot of great activity, and I'm just glad to be able to show you all that's going on. Thank you very much for watching and for your support. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.